are today's headline, March 26, 2023. Philippines embraces globalization despite challenges and controversies. Experts offer different perspectives on the future of globalization. Watch out the latest trivia about globalization on today's episode of Life's Little Known Wonders. Good day, Philippines. It's 7:30 a.m. March 26, 2023. I am Kevin Alcanar and this is PNBN, People in Nation Broadcasting Network Philippines, bringing you the world one story at a time. Philippines faces a lot of challenges and controversies due to globalization. In Philippine economy, poverty and unemployment rate is continuously increasing. According to PSA, there were 17.67 million poor Filipinos in 2018. It increased to 2.32 million in January 2023, with a total of 19.99 million individuals living below the poverty threshold. The unemployment rate in the Philippines increased to 4.8% in January 2023. Many local businessmen view globalization as a threat to their livelihoods and local businesses. There have been protests against large-scale mining operations and other foreign-owned businesses that are seen as exploiting Philippine resources. This has led to environmental degradation and the loss of biodiversity. Here is the statement of Mr. Carlos Pangilinan, a CEO of Zenith Enterprises, about his concern among some business leaders in the Philippines.
It's disheartening to see our own local product being overshadowed by cheaper foreign alternatives, particularly in the areas of manufacturing and agriculture. We have seen several of our fellow businessmen and farmers lose their livelihoods as they struggle to compete against cheaper and more efficient products. So, it's important that our own government and fellow Filipinos recognize the value of supporting local businesses and industries. By doing so, we can create a more sustainable and resilient economy that benefits everyone.
Despite these challenges, the Philippines has remained steadfast in its commitment to embracing globalization in a way that benefits its people and promotes sustainable growth. The nation has positioned itself to become a major player in the global marketplace. As we move forward into an increasingly interconnected world, it is clear that the Philippines will continue to face challenges and controversies. However, with its resilience and adaptability, there is no doubt that this nation will continue to embrace globalization and emerge as a leader in the global community. This is Kevin Alcanar reporting live on the Philippines' embrace of globalization despite challenges and controversies. To know more about the perspectives or views of some experts about this globalization, here is Justin Garcia reporting. Justin?
Because the issues of globalization are rising today, we interviewed some economists and experts about their perspective in globalization and what should we do to overcome these challenges. Here are their statements.
I firmly believe in the benefits of globalization and its potential to transform the world for the better. The interconnectedness and interdependence that it brings has the power to break down barriers and unite us as a global community. Promoting international cooperation and free trade is a good move because it will boost our economic growth and will allow people around the world to access better opportunities, education, and healthcare. Of course, there are concerns and challenges associated with globalization, such as the potential for job losses and environmental degradation. However, I believe that this can be addressed through thoughtful policies and strategies that prioritize sustainable growth and social justice.
I actually have a much more cautious and critical view of globalization. I see many potential risks and downsides to it. One of my main concerns is that globalization can actually cause a lot of economic inequality. The benefits of globalization usually go to the already developed and powerful countries, while most of the third world countries are much more vulnerable to suffer. Of this is that globalization actually leads to a lot of job losses in certain industries. Particularly in developing countries like us, we are struggling in competing with much more developed nations. I am also concerned that that the potential cultural homogenization that can result from too much exposure through globalization. While cultural exchange can be a positive thing, there is also a risk that local traditions and identities can be eroded as a result of While cultural exchange can be a positive thing, It also carries a risk that our local traditions, identities, and cultures can be eroded as a result of increased exposure to globalized media and consumer culture. So in summary, I believe that we need to be more cautious and critical to globalization, but not to the point that we are neglectful of change and innovation. So that's my take on globalization.
Well, for me, I see globalization not as a set of fixed and predetermined outcomes, but rather as an ongoing and constantly evolving process that is shaped by a range of factors, including politics, economics, culture, and technology. I believe that globalization is not an inevitable force, but rather a product of human action and choice. It is a process that can be shaped and directed by individuals and institutions in order to promote greater equality, sustainability, and social justice. For example, rather than simply accepting the negative consequences of globalization, we advocate for policies and initiatives that seek to mitigate this risk and promote more equitable outcomes. I believe that globalization requires a careful analysis and thoughtful action by embracing opportunities presented by globalization while also recognizing and addressing its challenges. We can work towards a more equitable and sustainable world.
As the world becomes increasingly interconnected, there have been growing concerns about the impact of globalization on economies, societies, and the environment. According to some experts we interviewed, a comprehensive approach is necessary, which involves addressing both the benefits and the cost of globalization. This could include implementing policies that promote greater economic and social equality, while also ensuring that the environment is protected. By working together and adopting a balanced approach, we can ensure that globalization benefits everyone, while also protecting our planet and promoting sustainable development. I am Justin Garcia reporting. Back to you, Kevin.
Thank you, Justin. So for today's episode of Life's Little Known Wonders, here are our PNB and Brainy Life Rocket to offer us our daily dose of trivia. Let us join Brainy Life and discover how much you know with our thrilling trivia show.
Good morning, Philippines. Good morning, world. I am the PNB and Brainy Life Roque, and I'm here to give you some trivia of the latest trending topic today. Do you know the term globalization? Well, it was first coined in the 1980s, but the concept itself has been around for centuries. Historians point out to the era of European colonization and exploration in the 15th and 16th century as an early example of it, as it involves the spread of ideas, technologies, and cultures across the globe. After the end of World War II, the global community focused on rebuilding and strengthening international ties. The creation of United Nations in 1945 and the signing of Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944 placed as a successful milestone for this process.
Brainy Life, are there any theories about globalization? If yes, what are those?
Yes, there are several theories of globalization that have been proposed by scholars over the years. Here are some of the most well-known ones. Modernization theory is the first. It suggests that globalization is the result of the spread of Western values and practices. It was developed in the 1950s and 1960s by American social scientists to explain economic development in the Third World. Second is the dependency theory. This theory argues that globalization is the result of the exploitation of developing countries by developed countries. According to this theory, developing countries are dependent on developed countries for economic growth, and that this dependence leads to a perpetuation of global inequality. One of the key tenets of world dependency theory is the concept of the core periphery, which suggests that developed countries dominate to exploit developing countries for their own economic gain. Another theory of globalization is the world system theory, which suggests that globalization is the result of development of a global capitalist system, and this theory was developed in the 1970s by sociologist named Immanuel Wallerstein. Globalization theory is a complex area of study that seeks to understand the way in which economic, political, social, and cultural processes interact on a global scale. Overall, the study of globalization theory is essential for policymakers, academics, and citizens alike in order to gain a better understanding of the complex and interrelated forces that shape our world. And that's a wrap for today's mind-blowing trivia about globalization. Here is life's little wonders. I hope you learned some about our history, theories, and effects of globalization in our world. Don't forget to tune in next time for more fascinating facts and trivias. Never forget, knowledge is the key, and with trivia, you can unlock your memory. So be sure to stay curious and keep learning. Who knows what exciting trivia we will unlock next time? Again, I am PNBN Brainy Life Rocket. Until next time, Kevin.
Thank you, Brainy Life. That concludes our broadcast for today. Thank you for tuning in to PNBN Philippines. We hope that we have provided you with valuable and insightful information on the latest events and developments from around the world. As always, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay connected to the world around you. We'll be back with more news and updates tomorrow, so be sure to tune in. I am Kevin Alcamar.
And I am Justin Garcia.
And I am Life Rocket. And this is
People and Nation Broadcasting Network Philippines.
Bringing you the world one story at a time.